Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachariya. Yamunatira Vanachariya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachariya. Yamunatira Vanachariya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Madreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 7, Text 25. What Prahlad learned and do. Buddher Jagaranam Swapna Sushuptir iti vrittayaha tayenaiva nubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha buddhir jagaranam swapna sushuptir iti vrittayaha tayenaiva nubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha. Please chant. Buddhir jagaranam swapna sushuptiriti vrittayaha tayenaiva nubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha buddhir jagaranam swapna sushuptiriti vrittayaha tayenaiva nubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha. Mataji. Sushuptiriti vrittayaha tayenaiva nubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha. Translation word by word, please repeat. Buddhe of the intelligence. Jagaranam, the waking or active state of the gross senses. Swapna, dreaming, the activity of the senses without the gross body. Sushupti, deep sleep or cessation of all activities, although the living entity is the seer. Iti, thus, vrittaya, the various transactions, taha, they, yena, by whom, eva, indeed, anubhuyante, are perceived, saha, that, adyakshaha, overseer, who's different from the activities, purusha, the enjoyer, paraha, transcendental. Translation. Intelligence can be perceived in three states of activity: wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. The person who perceives these three is to be considered the original master, the ruler, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Without intelligence, one cannot understand the direct activities of the senses, nor can he understand dreaming or the cessation of all gross and subtle activities. The seer and controller is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Soul, by whose direction the individual soul can understand when he is awake, when he is sleeping, and when he is completely in trance. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smriti vijnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The living entities are completely absorbed in the three states of wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep through their intelligence. This intelligence is supplied by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who accompanies the individual soul as a friend. Srila Madhvacharya says that the living entity is sometimes described as sattva buddhi, when its intelligence acts directly to perceive pains and pleasures above activities. There is a dreaming state in which understanding comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, is the Supreme Controller. And under His direction, the living entities are sub-controllers. One must understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead with one's intelligence. Om Magyana Timirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Therefore, I offer my humble respect to the obeisance to him. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right, so intelligence is something very, very important, of course. Prabhupada said that intelligence is the closest neighbor of the soul. The soul is in the region of the heart, and intelligence is like right there next to it. So Prabhupada said that if we understand the philosophy with our intelligence, then that's almost spiritual. Remain fixed, remain fixed. If it is only on the mental platform, it just remain like theoretical, You may forget, you may not do what you actually understood, supposedly understood, because one thing to understand things theoretically, as we hear and read the books, another thing is to actually become fixed, that knowledge in our heart. That's what Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya after hearing from him, like for 3 months. He prayed to Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, please give me your mercy so everything I hear from you becomes fixed in my heart, remain, there, So that's the whole idea of receiving the mercy of the Lord, that we become fixed in knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and don't become victim again of the material energy, Maya. That's the proof actually of somebody who's actually situated in transcendental knowledge, that he may be tempted by Maya, but he will not fall down. He will not allow himself to be influenced by that inferior energy. Daiviyesha gunamayi mamamaya duratyayam evaye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Krishna explained Bhagavad Gita that this divine energy of mine, Maya, is very powerful, very difficult to overcome. But those who surrender unto me can overcome it very easily. So this surrendering process, Krishna consciousness, actually is an internal process. It's not something we show externally, because it has to do with the state of mind. Prabhupada said that more important than the service itself is the mentality through which we offer the service. So, knowing that, we also have to be like awake, aware of how our mind is working. The mind has 3 activities: thinking, feeling, and willing. And when these are directed to material enjoyment, becomes entanglement for the soul. But when those same activities, thinking, feeling, and willing, are directed to the service of Krishna, then becomes the reason for the soul's liberation. So, as described in the verse, we have 3 stages of existence: awake, sleeping, and deep sleep. And the intelligence is always there in the 3 stages, because that intelligence coming from Krishna. As he explained in the Bhagavad Gita, from him comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and the knowledge. So everything comes from him. I just came from Mexico. We have a farm there. The devotees built a big, huge temple, like for 1,000 people to fit in, a big, huge temple. An amazing architecture, because the people who made the temple, they specialized in making cathedrals. That's their specialty. And they were going to Spain to make a cathedral there, and COVID came. They could not fly. Everything was canceled. So the devotees contacted them, and they built the temple for Krishna. We are expecting the deities to arrive in a few months. So, anyway, I noticed there some birds, they make their nest in such a way, amazing way, attached to the wall, and they just put it there and remain there fixed. I mean, they have no hand to. How they do that? Who gave them the intelligence to do that? Ignorant people, they say instinct. What is this instinct? This instinct is Paramatma giving them intelligence how to do everything. And that's why that's Krishna is so merciful. Although the souls, we all wanted to forget Krishna and become false enjoyers in the material world, He's so kind, merciful. He doesn't give up on us. He comes and remain in our heart as the super soul to guide us in our material journey. Even for doing the basic things, you need some intelligence. How to eat, how to sleep, how to do everything. And from whom does come this intelligence? Come from the super soul. So super soul is the best friend of everyone. He's the best friend. Everybody's looking for a good friend. But so-called friend in this world, they don't remain forever a friend or well-wisher. They may change their mind, and they may not be friend anymore after some time. So keep yourself in silent mood, please. But Krishna is a real friend. He's sitting on our heart as a real friend, eternal friend, the best well-wisher. He wants the best for us. No? And it is said in the Bhagavad Gita that when we have full control of our mind, we can hear the Super Soul. We can perceive His presence in our heart, guiding us, It's possible. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I have this idea. Is it the Super Soul or my mind? Prabhupada said, it's your mind. Because unless one comes to the stage of full control of the mind, can't perceive actually the Super Soul. Sometimes people call it what they call the voice of your consciousness. Telling you. People sometimes, they have this feeling, something telling them not to do this, something bad, something wrong. They don't know from where this comes. Or inspiration. Suppose, Mozart wrote music. He got inspired. Who gave him that inspiration? And how is that at so early age he became so expert in music? Prabhupada said because he's been practicing from previous lives. So if somebody is too attached to do something, for example, music, it may take him few lives, few births to perfect his desire. Like Prabhupada used to like to put in Mayapur this Shanai, music, the musician. And Prabhupada said this man to play like that took him few births to perfect it, So that means that we can carry with us from one life to the next our desires, And those desires can be fulfilled by the Lord's mercy. But that's an entanglement because, for the soul to be born and again and to have a material body is troublesome, is difficult, is miserable, is suffering. So that's why the Vedas said, Tamasima Jyotirgamaha. Don't stay in the darkness, come to the light of knowledge. And Krishna is the supreme knowledgeable person. He knows everything. Nobody else can know everything as he knows. I mean, he's not only as the super soul in everyone's heart, that means he knows everyone. He knows all your secrets, all your thoughts, everything. But him, very few knows. He's not easily understood or known. He reserved that to surrendered devotees to reveal himself. Atase Krishna namadi nabhavegraya mendriyai sivam mukhe jiva dosvayameva spuratyada. The Padma Purana explained that with this gross contaminated material sense, it's not possible to understand Krishna's name, form, qualities, or activities. But when we engage our tongue in the service of the Lord, then gradually the truth about Krishna starts to become revealed. It's a revelation. It's not just theoretical, we know something. It's a revelation, it has to be fixed there in our intelligence, in our heart. Then we have, assurance that we got the mercy of the Lord, Once I heard two devotees discussing, one of them was telling the other, well, actually, by following strictly the rules, regulation, we can get the mercy of the Lord. And the other devotee was telling him, well, I defer. I think that unless we get the mercy of the Lord, we can't follow the rules and regulations. So who's right? Who's right? Both are right. So one thing's follow the other, That's what the pastime of Damodar teaches us, that those two fingers missing to tie up Krishna's waist by Mother Yashoda, they mean that we need to do two things: to endeavor sincerely and to pray for the mercy of the Lord. Two things there simultaneously are needed, There's a saying in Spanish, a Dios rogando y con el mazo dando, which means while praying to God, you must hammer. Means you have to do your effort. Pray for the mercy and make the effort. Both things have to be there.
Faith and works.
Yeah. There are sometimes Christians. Some of them have this idea that faith is more important than works. But actually, both should go together. If you have real faith, you have to show it in your actions. It's not just I have faith, then actions are not important. No, how you prove your real faith? By following the commandment. The teachings, isn't? No. There's no other way. Like we hear Prabhupada hearing this morning that he say, well, where are the real Christians? If they don't follow their commandment, you should not kill. It's a big challenge, It's a big challenge. Prabhupada is very bold. He's challenging them, If you love God, why you disobey Him? And how am I disobeying? Well, we should not kill. Well, that refers only to human being. Well, then God will have said you should not murder. Killing is all type of killings. Murder refers only to humans. And I hear that new Bibles now come with that change to murder. You should not murder. At least in Spanish, I don't know in English. Anyway, it's a big subject. But this verse reminds me of an experience I had some years ago. I have to undergo surgery, and I have to go through full anesthesia and everything. So I prayed to Krishna, please, Krishna, I know maybe unconscious. Please don't allow me to forget you, even in my unconscious state, under the anesthesia. And one devotee told me later that when I came out of the surgery, I was still under the effects of anesthesia. And he said I was talking a lot. So the nurse told him, all of them talk rubbish when they start coming out of the effect of the anesthesia. But he said, no, he was listening to what I was saying. And he said, I was giving a Bhagavad Gita class. You are not the body or the soul. We have to surrender to Krishna. Life is temporary, full of misery. Of course, I don't remember that, but he was there listening to that. Yeah. And not only that, they took me to the room, and suddenly I heard somebody chanting loudly Hare Krishna. I woke up, and to my surprise, I myself woke myself by chanting. I was chanting without my knowledge that I was chanting. So I thought, we have hope, and there is hope, that if we practice sincerely, even in our state of unconscious, we can remember Krishna, That is possible, I remember sometime having like a nightmare, and suddenly in the middle of the nightmare, I remember chanting, and I start chanting, and everything, poof, just, wash away. So for devotees, even going to sleep is service, because, to maintain the body and the proper health, one has to have enough sleep, so we can continue doing the service. But devotees, just before going to sleep, should pray to Krishna, my dear Krishna, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to go into ignorance, Please don't allow me to forget you, even in my sleep, I don't know if my mind going to take me to hell while sleeping, because we can't control what we are going to sleep, The mind is, have their, whatever is accumulated debt from many lifetimes, not only from this lifetime. Whatever, desires, whatever, the mind may go here and there, Even great sages are aware of that the mind, suddenly without your desire, something may appear in your mind. You don't want to, but just happen. So what the devotees do is that they pray to Krishna, and at least while awake, to be, Krishna conscious, to be, not to be inattentive, So it's a great process. It's a very wonderful and very, deep spiritual knowledge, and we have to, study it and understand it with our intelligence, so we don't let ourselves be carried by the whimsical mind. Prahlad Maharaj told Hiranyakashipu, because he was trying to teach him about enemies and friends. Demigods are an enemy, and the asuras are our friends, and all this, dualities. And Prahlad Maharaj said, besides the deviated mind out of control, I don't see any other enemy in this world. So that's our only enemy. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, what is the worst enemy of the devotee? And Prabhupada said, the devotee himself. We can be our own best friend or worst enemy if we let ourselves be carried by the whimsical mind. So one thing is to know we are not the body, but I think more important is to know we are not the mind, because, Nowadays in the world, mental diseases are more frequent, more in number than physical diseases, you know. That's a fact. So that means even once a devotee who suffered from what you call some mental disease, I can't remember now the name of his mental condition, maybe schizophrenia, probably. He wrote to Prabhupada asking him his advice. And Prabhupada said, that's schizophrenia, just a sudden abrupt change of the mind, you know. So when you get the attack, just sit tightly and chant very loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, until the effect of the attack stop, you know. Prabhupada said, don't buy a lot of psychotropic, you know, drugs, you know, heavy drugs. That's what they do, of course. I mean, I'm not saying if we are sick, you have to take whatever drugs needed, you know. But I mean to say, I mean, I know devotees, they have to take some kind of this type of drugs, you know, to be like normal, you know. Of course, it should be diminished and you know, with the advancement. Prabhupada said mental issues is like bodily issue. If you have a bodily health problem, you go to doctor and see how you fix it, you know. The same to him, if you have some mental problem, you also get some help. One of my godbrothers who lived in Texas, he told me a story. He told me that he after some time he stopped chanting his japa, you know, and he started having some emotional problems, mental problems. So he went to see a psychologist, and the psychologist told him, "Oh, I hear that chanting these mantras is helpful. Are you chanting your mantras?" And he said, "What?" That's Paramatma speaking to him through this person, you know. So sometimes Krishna may use even an ignorant person to tell you something, you know. So the body immediately starts chanting his japa again. And the mind became more quiet, more peaceful. So material problems, they can only have spiritual solutions. Temporary material solution may not remain. You may get some help from some psychologist, but for how long? Then after some time you again have the problem, no? Because if you solve all your mental problems, then they're out of job. So they have to keep you, you know. They can't cure you completely. They don't have the power to do that anyway, you know. Of course, I mean, I heard one interesting story about one psychiatrist in Miami. I don't remember his name right now. He was treating a patient who had a phobia with water. The person can't approach the ocean or a river, even a swimming pool. Even taking shower was difficult. So this psychiatrist was trying to help the person through regular treatment. For 6 months, it didn't work. So he was desperate to help this lady. And he decided to put her in hypnosis. And he told her, go to where the problem started. Go back. He first tried childhood, maybe some childhood trauma or something. Nothing. Then when one session, go back to where the problem started with water. And the person started telling that she was living in an island in Greece, and the volcano erupted, and the island was submerged in water, and she died drowning. So when the lady, found out the reason for her phobia, she got cured. So that's very interesting thing, that when you know why you have a problem, then you know the solution. So we need to first find out the problem. Go to the root of the problem, And unless we accept karma, reincarnation, there is no way to explain why this person have particular problem or that other person have this mental difficulties, whatever. Is everything interconnected, So we can use, Prabhupada said, we can use everything in Krishna's service, science, philosophy, everything. The Vedas speak about everything, medicine, Ayurveda, everything. Even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita used psychology with Arjuna, Arjuna didn't want to fight. Then Krishna tell him about the soul, the eternality of the soul. That didn't work. So Krishna then tell him, well, if you run away from this fight, people will think you're a coward, and for somebody who experienced glory, to be looked upon as a coward is worse than death, So Krishna was using psychology to also, spiritual psychology. So Krishna is not bereft of anything. Everything is there included, And somebody expert, we have to become expert on how to understand and apply and share the philosophy with people who are in need of it. Everybody actually, Prabhupada said, it is a fact that Krishna consciousness is the most basic need of every person in this world. Because without spiritual knowledge, people are in ignorance, and only due to ignorance, they're suffering like anything. And because they're doing things harmful, they don't know even they're harmful. Or even if they know, they don't know how to stop it. No. So, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he went far in explaining about the, he actually was Simha Guru Lion, He challenged all the deviant, philosophies, religion of his time. He challenged everyone. And he said, because this idea, even nowadays, in religions exists this idea, Mana Seva, Madhava Seva. Serving man is serving God. This is the Ritra Narayan. This is the philosophy of serving man is serving God, serving humanity. But the actual service to humanity is giving them God consciousness. That's a real service to humanity. It's like you want to nourish a tree. You don't just throw water on the leaves. You have to pour water in the root. Then the whole trunk, branches, leaves, everything is nurtured. Once I was traveling from Peru to Miami, and in the flight I met the leader of this group called Pachamama. Pachamama means Mother Earth. And they are like naturalists and, loving nature and like the mode of goodness, So he saw me dressed like that, so he started, asking questions, want to talk. So I told him, that's very nice that you worship Mother Earth. We also worship Mother Earth. Actually, in the Vedas, there is a prayer when you wake up before stepping out of your bed to Mother Earth. Let me try to remember the verse. What is the name of the ocean in Sanskrit? Ocean. Samudravasane Devi Parvatastana Mandite Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padasparsha Shamaswame. Dear Mother Earth, you are decorated by oceans and beautiful mountains, and you are the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu. Please forgive me for stepping on you on this day. And you get out of your bed with your right foot. Not the left, the right. In Mexico, they have a saying, if things go wrong any given day, oh, I stepped out with the left foot. Yeah. Also? Well, according, you know one thing? According to Ayurveda, you should step from bed from the side that you are breathing. So yeah, it's for a health thing. Of course, with the right foot, but the side according to which nose you're breathing. For health reason. Anyway, Vedic science is full of so many detailed knowledge about everything. I also, when I see the sun rising first in the morning, I also offer my prayer from the Brahma Samhita. Yachakshure sasavita sakalagrahanam raja samasta murti rashesha teja yasyagya brahmati sambrita kalachakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. You are getting your heat and light from Govinda. You're giving light and heat to all universe. Offer my obeisance to you. You are the eye of the Lord. And of course, I also try to remember that Srimati Radhika, with the excuse to go to worship the sun god, to meet Krishna. So the sun god was her worshipful deity, just an excuse. And Krishna will disguise himself as the priest who's doing the puja to the sun god. So, anyway, any comments, questions? Yes?
I'm going to send this to you. I don't know if you get the prison ministry newsletter. Probably not.
No?
Yeah, I'll forward you to it. I subscribe to it.
Please do.
And there was several amazing stories in there. And one of them, your class reminded me of that. Of this lady, I think born in Kazakhstan, but she's a devotee serving in India. And she had very ill, I forget what it was, and she's on her deathbed there. She recounted this. And she was trying to chant Hare Krishna. She was so paralyzed she couldn't even chant, you know. And then in the story she says, "And I died."
I read that story.
Oh, you read that? Okay.
Amazing story.
Yeah.
Amazing story. And she completely forgot Krishna, everything. And one person, she was in the hospital, you know, I think in Krishnanagar or something, near Mayapur. And one person was not devotee, was a doctor, he just mentioned the name Krishna. Immediately she remembered everything. So that's why it's so important for devotees living their bodies to have assistance to help them remember Krishna, you know. That's very, very important. And devotees trying to do that, you know, most places. I mean to say, Ishvara Puri, he was assisting his Guru Madhavendra Puri at the last stage of his life, not only cleaning him and whatever material needs he had, but he was always chanting the holy name, speaking about Krishna's pastimes and everything, no? And at the end of his life, Madhavendra Puri, he prayed, you know, to Krishna. You remember what prayer is that? And said that how would it start? Ayedina dayardranata he maturanata kadava lokyase hridayam twad aloka kataram dayeta brahmyati kim karomyam. By the mercy of Radharani, this verse appeared in Madhavendra Puri's mind, you know. And it's a prayer of love and separation. Radharani is praying, O Lord of Mathura, you left, you went to Mathura. You are the dearest of my life. When I will see you again? What should I do? It's a love and separation, very intense. Madhavendra Puri is the first person to show that in our Sampradaya, So that's the old idea, to develop this attraction, to feel the separation. And that's what Lord Chaitanya came to teach everyone, to love Krishna by feeling his separation, not meeting him. We are not on that level yet. But at least feel the separation is the safest situation, in our conditional state, because that feeling of separation may burn all material desire in our heart and increase our desire to reach Krishna. So that's the whole purpose, to follow the footstep of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, how they loved Krishna, how they felt for him. That's the sum and substance of the Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, philosophy, isn't? That's the speciality of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Other Sampradayas, they don't have that. No? Even the Kumara Sampradaya, they worship Radha Krishna, but they worship them like they're always together. They always together, never separated. Like separation is only when they look one side and something like that. No. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the feeling of Radharani, showing how intense is this love increases much more when there is separation. The attachment increases so much. That's why Prabhupada said, for a devotee who feels actually this separation is like meeting Krishna. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful lecture. I wanted to go back to that story you were telling about devotees discussing about sadhana, bhakti, and mercy. I wanted to ask you, what is the understanding, what is your realization about how the mercy is required to participate in sadhana, and then through sadhana we get the mercy?
Well, once a devotee asked Prabhupada, please Prabhupada, give me your mercy. And Prabhupada said, I already gave you my mercy, read my books. So, meaning, if one read the books, if one hears from pure devotee, that means he's getting the mercy. And by understanding the philosophy, the books, then one is able to follow the rules and regulations. Because you can't do something unless you understand it. Unless you understand, you don't accept. If there is no acceptance, then you're not going to do it. You may do it sometime, but not always. But our philosophy is first here. And Srila Prabhupada himself said, my Guru Maharaj, he accepted me as disciple because he saw that I like it to hear. He said, he likes to hear, I'm going to make him my disciple. Remember the story? So the same way in our Krishna consciousness, hearing the philosophy from the right source is very important. Because by hearing, and when we understand, then we accept. Yes, it is true. And when there is acceptance, there is conviction. And when there is conviction, then you follow, you practice. Then experience comes, realization comes. And when you have realization, then you become fixed. Not somebody has to convince you. You are convinced. No? There is mercy first, then mercy means hearing from a pure devotee, that you're getting the mercy. Then it's up to you to follow, but first you have to understand properly. Having doubt is natural. Prabhupada said that's a symptom of intelligence, but don't keep the doubt. Ask somebody for answers. Then making progress is there. Yes. Please do.
That famous Tamasi Ma Jyoti Gamaya and the Mrityu Ma Amrita Gamaya. There's actually two meanings there. Prabhupada always gave it, Ma, don't. Ma means not, do not.
Yeah, don't stay in darkness.
But it also means me. It can mean me.
Yes.
And the Gamaya it's a prayer. Oh my Lord, take me from darkness to light. So it serves both. It can mean both of those.
Very nice. Yes. Of course, we need the Lord's mercy to get out of the darkness, not just by our own means. Isn't it? All right. Very good. Thank you, everyone. I'm leaving tomorrow to. We have a program today at Sangeeta's home.
Such a short stay?
Yeah, of course, leaving tomorrow to LA, but coming back on Wednesday or Thursday.
Come back for a week.
Yeah, for a week. For Gaur Purnima, we'll be here. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol.